Some people are threatened by evolution, the idea of evolution. They think that if evolution took place, if that history took place going back a long, long time, then that indicates something about who we really are. It indicates that we're really just a bunch of genes floating around, and they came up out of the soup and then got more and more complex. And they think, and apparently this seems to be, at first face, it seems to be incompatible with ideas about moral personhood and certain religious ideas about the nature of man as being transcendent of the biological realm and this sort of thing. So I'm here to tell you that there is nothing to fear from evolution, and it's a very simple argument, okay? And it's perfectly general. It's not just regarding evolution. It's about the whole perspective of reductionism, which the individual sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, are committed to, but in a metaphysical sense, thinking about everything that exists, it's just a non sequitur to take that out, to take the little science perspective and then blow that up into a larger metaphysical perspective and then bring that into a metaphysical reductionism or a nothing buttery, saying that we're nothing but particles, or we're nothing but chemicals, or we're nothing but animals, nothing but. All that just doesn't follow, because those perspectives are unique to the special sciences. Okay. So, you look at physics. From the point of view of physics, there's just a bunch of particles, various elementary particles that behave in exceptionless law-like ways that we've come to understand. They are what they do, these particles, and there's nothing that's left out by the laws of sciences, by the laws of physics that seem to govern these particles. They are what they do, and everything that's been observed in physics fits the laws of these little particles running around. So from the purview of physics, there need be nothing else except what physics treats of. So physics knows nothing of chemical bonds, chemical compounds, even an atom. Atoms, per se, are not a kind that physics needs to take account of. It's just you have the elementary particles, and they're behaving in law-like ways. It just so happens that when you get to another science, one level up, so to speak, chemistry, you do have need for things like chemical bonds, which you don't have in physics. Physics has no such kind as chemical bonds and this sort of thing, or anything that's chemistry, that's specifically chemistry related, because it just sees particles. But chemical science has proven to be fruitful in looking at things on another stratum, on another level. Okay? So according to chemistry, we have atoms, we have bonds, we have compounds, we have chemical reactions. And then when you look one level up, there are these other things that we call organisms. Now, chemistry knows nothing of organisms, per se. It's not like there's a hole in chemistry that it can't explain, and then you have to go to biology to posit these other things called organisms, because chemistry just isn't enough. Everything that's there, chemistry can treat of. So everything that underlies the workings of an organism, it can be treated at the chemical level, and there's nothing missing there. Now, there used to be a doctrine called vitalism in the 19th century. It used to be thought that biological things were things that chemistry could not take account of, but that's not true. Chemistry can take account of everything without having of everything to do with organisms without having to advert to anything else. It's a closed science. You can treat of everything according to chemistry and not have anything missing. But there's this other science called biology, which treats of these things called organisms. Even though chemistry has no concept of organism. That science knows nothing of organism or organisms. Yet there are these things that we discover in biological science, entities which according to chemistry, from the chemical perspective, are just a bunch of chemicals, just like from the physical perspective, chemicals are just a bunch of particles, elementary particles behaving in their exceptionless law-like ways. In biology, you can look at things from a chemical level. Chemistry doesn't leave anything out. It's not that chemistry is missing something and then you have to go to biology. There are these different sciences, each of which are complete according to what they treat of. So now you have biology. Okay, so this is just a general lesson about what's sometimes called reductionism. Each of the special sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, has to proceed from a reductionist point of view. But metaphysically speaking, as far as everything that there is, it doesn't follow, because you could say, well, there's nothing but chemicals, there's nothing but particles, there's nothing but organisms. It could proceed from any of those levels. Here's the deal with evolution. Evolution is about biology, and it's just about biology. And according to biology, there are organisms. According to biology, we are organisms, and you can treat human beings according to an organismal level, and biology doesn't leave anything out. Just like chemistry doesn't leave anything out, physics doesn't leave anything out. It's not that you have to go to the next level, it's just that there are these different levels of description and explanation. So with regard to biology, there are these things called organisms. We are one of them, human beings. But according to biology, it doesn't need to take account of persons per se, or psychology, because you can explain everything without remainder in terms of the biology, the neurophysiology, and everything related to the special science regarding to the special science that is biology. Okay, it doesn't leave anything out, and yet we do have these concepts that don't fit into biology. But go take the analogy down to those other levels. That doesn't mean that they're not real. It just means that special science doesn't treat of it. Physics doesn't recognize anything regarding chemical bonds, atoms, chemical compounds, yet chemistry says that there are such things. Chemistry says that, according to chemistry, there's no such things as organisms. It doesn't need to account for those things. Yet according to biology, we have organisms and everything that seems to fit according to at the organismal level. All right. Now, one level beyond that, we have the things regarding to personhood and psychology, and things regarding to that transcend biology. Well, biology doesn't need to advert to that, but so what? It's biology. It treats of biological things. Evolution is just the same thing. Evolution is about biology. So here's the deal. It's a very simple argument. Now, evolution is just about biology. Now, where human beings are concerned, and all the other organisms in the animal kingdom and all the kingdoms of organisms, you can tell their evolutionary history by the DNA homology. That is, we can tell that ourselves and gorillas have a relatively recent ancestor evolutionarily, not just by looking at us, but quantitatively we can tell by the DNA, by the fact that our DNA is 98% the same. Okay, now that's an empirical fact. It's not open to debate. It's just a fact that our DNA is 98% the same, or whatever, as a gorilla. So all that evolution does is explain why so much of our DNA is similar. It says that we have a closer common ancestor, us and gorillas and chimpanzees or whatever, than other organisms. So you think of the tree of life, organisms that are closely related, which you can just tell empirically by assaying the DNA. You can tell that. And it's not open to debate, and all evolution does is explain why that is so. It gives us a tree of life that explains why that is so. So unless the fact that we are 98% genetically the same as gorillas, unless that empirical fact threatens some religious principle or moral principle by itself, which there's no reason to think that it would, then if just that empirical fact doesn't threaten anything that's above biology regarding with personhood or theology, then because evolution only accounts for that, just accounts for the biological empirical data, then neither should evolution be a threat to anything else, because all it does is account for the empirical biological facts. So if we don't think that biology by itself, never mind evolution, if we don't think that biology and the empirical facts thereof override concerns about, human concerns about personhood or being made in the image of God according to the Judeo-Christian religion and that sort of thing, then neither does evolution threaten that, because all it does is account for the empirical biological data. So the history, the physical history that evolution portrays, that can't be a threat unless we also think that the empirical genetic data militates against these personal views of humankind that go beyond biology. So based on perfectly general principles, just because we have concepts for personhood and morality and things like that that biology knows nothing of, that doesn't mean that there's no such thing. By the same argument, we could say that physics knows nothing of chemical bonds, so there's no such thing. There goes chemistry. Well, we have chemistry. Sorry. Same thing. Chemistry knows nothing of organisms. It doesn't need to advert to organisms. It can explain everything at the chemical level. Yet there are such things as organisms. There is biology. There you are. Same thing with the higher levels of human valuation and knowledge that go beyond what the sciences tell us. Just because those don't appear in the sciences doesn't mean that they're not real. On the contrary, we know that they are. Biology treats of what biology treats of. Biology is as biology does. Looking at things from the special sciences perspective, for instance, biology shouldn't be construed as eliminating the possibility for there being other things that biology just doesn't capture, because the exact same thing is true with the other special sciences when you go on down, down the levels. So anyway, that's just a very simple way of looking at it. Biology just treats of genetic things. It explains the genetic data. If the genetic data don't militate against personal or theological views of humankind, then neither should evolution, because it just treats of the biological data and explains that. It doesn't have anything to do with anything else. So that's that.